Hello, and welcome to the Savage Balance podcast for the first time with a kind of visual element with me. Welcome to this. It's great to share this space with you. I'm really looking forward to introducing you to this week's episode, which features a wonderful conversation between me and Blue Van Man, very genuinely warm-hearted, really beautiful, engaging, and funny person to spend time with. If you don't know who Blue Van Man is, I reckon I'm about to introduce you to a whole new aspect of YouTube you didn't know before, because you'll get addicted, as I did. He's a YouTuber based in Loughborough, sort of reviewing everyday items like food and drink and beer, but also doing sort of different things, talking about social commentary and like football analysis, if that's what you want to call it. He's also building a camper van from scratch. He does a podcast with a couple of friends. He does loads of cool stuff. And it was a really great chat. We initially sort of decided to do this when he got in touch with me in response to a podcast I made about his work and sort of comparing it to like experimental kind of transgressive 20th century art in a kind of serious and fun way. Like it was a good fun podcast to do, actually. And he liked it and he wanted to chat. If you want to hear that, the link is in the description. We do talk about it a little bit in this, so it might give you a little bit of, extra, what is the word? A bit of extra context, but you don't have to listen to it. But in fact, all the other podcasts we mentioned in this episode are down below in the description as well, so you can go and check those out whenever you want. We recorded this sort of April 2021, so I just missed out on the FA Cup final in Euro 2020, which I would have loved to have heard his views on. But there's loads of great sort of timeless conversational topics in here, including the pressures of social media, his battles with COVID, UK politics, and his ideal dinner guests, which is worth sticking around for because it's just a phenomenal list of people I was not expecting. Hey, if you could, subscribe to this channel, that would be cool. There'll be extra stuff coming. There's new episodes every Tuesday, I'm afraid. That's the wrong thing. Get it right if you're going to talk about it, mate. Also subscribe on Apple Podcasts, on Google, on Spotify, on plenty of things like that. If you could comment about it, if you could share it, if you could do the old thumbs up, all that kind of stuff genuinely would help this expand and help this grow and help, introduce other people to different content. We also have a Patreon with exclusive content on there. But, for now, just sit back, relax wherever you are. If you're at the gym, if you're going for a run, if you're having a fish and chips, if you're on a boat, I don't know where you are or what you're doing. You might be on a boat. I don't know. Just sit back and enjoy this episode number 31, conversation with me and the just really beautifully engaging and hilarious and heartfelt at times Blue Van Man. And you'll see me with a beard as well, which I shaved recently, which you'll see now. Here we are.
I've had to do it in the kitchen.
Nice, yeah, it makes sense. I like seeing your dogs around. Although in your videos, you never seem too chuffed to see them at the point. They're always sticking their nose in, and you're...
That goes to it, don't it? I think that adds to the video that they're not really meant to be there until I tell them to be there. But that's how it is in an actual household. So there you go.
Yeah. They look happy and they look inquisitive and they look like, and they know what's on the table, so they're ready to.
They know what's happening. They're not stupid.
No, exactly. Nice one. Are you ready to jump in whenever and just
go, mate? Yeah, all good.
Get going. Perfect. Nice one. So there we go. So I'm joined today by Blue Van Man. How are you doing?
I'm all right, mate. You all taking it in your life?
All good, yeah, all good. Enjoying. Is it nice weather where you are? We've got glorious sun.
Yeah, it is. It's nice blue skies, and June's just gone to work. The kids at college, and basically I'm at home just getting bits and bobs sorted for me YouTubing. So
nice one, perfect. I wanted to start this off by a little congratulations for Leicester reaching the final. That's got to be exciting, right?
It is, yeah, it is exciting. I mean, don't get me wrong, right? I am a Leicester fan, and years ago I used to follow them all over the country and I had a season ticket. But then when you get married and you've got a mortgage and things have to go, I follow Leicester, but then I like stopped going to the games. I went with my dad a few times years ago, and then that gets too expensive. And now my daughter, she's found football, so it rekindled that life into going down to the King Power and smelling the atmosphere. I know that sounds silly, but you know, the burgers and the atmosphere of the crowd and the away fans trying to scare you on the bus, and I just love it. So it's great. Yeah, but well done to Leicester. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, this will be your first FA Cup final, right? As a fan.
Yes, I think I can't remember how many years it is. Is somebody 62 or something?
Something like that. Yeah, like
Leicester are last in the final.
Yeah, well over 50, something like that. Yeah,
we've had the League Cup final a couple of times, and we've had the playoffs. So we've had joy down there and heartbreak as well. But yeah, hopefully we can do something here.
Yeah, nice one. Yeah, I hope so. I'm rooting for you as well.
I think a lot of people are.
Yeah, I guess partly because it's sort of gone by. I thought I'd be talking to you a little bit about the Super League stuff, but I guess that's all. That's all sort of.
Yeah, I've had a few rants on that. I got a bit carried away on some of the ranting, but yeah, I think people probably want Leicester to win more now because of Man City wanting to do not Man City, Chelsea wanting to leave. So I think, you know, I think teams will, neutral fans will probably want Leicester to win even more now. So hopefully so.
Yeah. You have the backing of most of the country, I think, with you.
Yeah.
Nice one. Probably a good place to start. I'm interested in how you sort of started doing everything you're doing, all your YouTube stuff. Like, I've seen your first video, and it's sort of like I can see a lot of how your confidence has come on since then, and you're a lot more, what I imagine is yourself in front of camera. But yeah, how did it start?
June watches a lot of YouTubers, and she plays them, and then I just listen to them while I was playing whatever game I was playing on my phone. And I thought, that sounds really easy. I can do that. You know, I mean, like you say, I've grown in confidence, but I've always been a confident kind of lad anyway. You know, things have never really bothered me. So I thought, you know, I'm going to have a go at this. I'll have a go. And I just was thinking that I was looking for a niche in the market of what I could do. I'm not very hands-on with, you know, although I was a builder as such, I used to fit double glaze and I used to fit soundproofing. Most builders, when they're at home, are not bothered about doing, you know, work around their own house. So I was just looking for something to do. I thought Harry's razors, I needed a new razor. I thought I'd give them a go. They were promoting really big at the time, so that was it. And then I just started. I reviewed the brush on top of the conservatory, and that were leaking. And I had a right fit at that. And I posted that, and my friends were watching it, and they all thought it was funny. And I thought, you know, I've probably got something here that I could actually work on. I didn't want it to be this big. I never set out for it to be this big. But, yeah, it was all down to June, really. This is her fault watching other YouTubers.
Blame her. Nice one. Yeah. Well, I was interested, like, seeing you from the beginning and seeing you up to now, and you're saying you're a really confident person that comes across. Did you ever feel like a sense of like needing to perform at first doing it, or were you just like, I'm just gonna be me and see what happens?
I think the problem I had when I did my first video, my first so many videos, is that I've got my daughter, and you've always got to wonder what's going to crack off with my daughter. If people found out that I was trying to be a YouTuber, you've got to be wary of what will happen to her. And then I've also got my wife, June, and, you know, she was really against it at the start. She was, I don't want you to do this, but I'll let you do it. Not I'll let you do it, but I'll support you because it's something you want to do. When I started, I was a little bit, I took my foot off the gas. I wasn't myself as such. But then as the channel started to grow and people started to like what I was doing, I did actually get to the end where I thought, sod it, I'm just going to carry on being me, and I'll just gradually unravel myself in front of people and see what happens. So that, yeah, it was just being careful at the start.
Yeah, I think people like that, don't they? They like authenticity, and they like just seeing someone being themselves. And I did want to ask you about your family, actually, in terms of like, well, you mentioned it a bit there, but like starting it off and having them slowly sort of become part of it, really. Were they so you're saying they were a bit trepidatious at first, they were a bit like wary of...
Yeah. Well, the thing is, you're actually putting yourself out there for the world to see. I mean, I've got people in Australia who watch me, in America and Canada, and even people in Brazil, and Russia who watch me. So you're putting yourself out there in the world. And June, she's a very private person. It took me all the time to take pictures of her anyway. The wedding day, and that was, she's not into this. So to actually come on and do YouTubing is massive for her. My daughter's not been on. She's, people are very critical of other people, and she doesn't want to come on in case people start having a go at her or find fault in her or say this about her or say that about her. Where if people say anything about me, it don't really bother me. I get, I'm quite happy for the reaction, to be fair.
I get that sense, especially when you're saying, I don't ever say don't ever say subscribe, because if you don't like it, then you can fuck off.
Yeah,
that seems pretty
that's
resilient.
what it is. It is like, this is what I can't understand about people when they watch a program and then they phone up Ofcom and complain about it. Well, don't watch it in the first place. You've probably got an idea of what it's going to be. It's like Samuel L. Jackson did a video ages ago of people saying, "Oh, I really like your film, but because of you now, my son smokes, or because of you now, my son swears, or this and that." And like Samuel L. Jackson saying, "You're letting your kid watch my films. You know what basically I'm about, so don't let them watch Reservoir Dogs or what's the other one? Pulp Fiction. Don't watch it." And somebody said to me the other day, they went, "I wish you'd stop swearing because my kids can't watch it." And I'm thinking, I wouldn't let my kids watch Blue Van Man anyway, because although I'm not X-rated, I do slip into yob mode kind of thing now and again.
Yeah, and you don't want to necessarily put a filter on what you're doing because when you start making concessions about this for that person and this for that person, then it starts to become not you and starts to become something else.
Yeah, dead right. And then people will see through it. People see through that it's not me, and that's wrong. So,
Yeah, especially on YouTube as well, where it is, it's really easy to flick between, and there's so much content on there that if that's something you can find exactly what you're looking for on there somewhere.
Yeah, to be fair, I mean, although I never tick the bit where it says not for children, because that means I don't consider somebody 15, 16, 17, although they're a child, they are getting close to knowing what real world's about. You can't just expect a 16-year-old to turn 17 and 18 and know everything. You've got to gradually bring them into life. So that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing that I find most incredible about everything you've done is sort of like the amount of views and the amount of sort of recognition it gets. How did that start? When did you get a sense that there were more people tuning in? Like when I look at something and it's posted 2 hours ago and it's had a couple of thousand views consistently, it's sort of like, when did you start to notice that was coming? And sort of, do you have any insight into how that started to happen?
Well, I think the first time it started to grow, I did a McDonald's video. McDonald's had got some new burger out, and I basically slated it. And the next thing I know, it's got like, although there wasn't 2,000 views in a couple of hours, it was a grower. It was a steady growing video over the months. Then I did the Five Guys, and then really, I suppose, when True Geordie Brian took over, not took over, but he reviewed my video of me eating a Five Guys. That's when it really started to take off, and that's when my life changed. Really, I don't understand why people watch me. I don't see the attraction because I've been like this. I mean, I'm 52 now. I've been like this for the last 35 years. This has pretty much been me. So, and like June will say, what is the attraction? And I don't know.
Well, speaking for myself, I reckon it is that sort of authenticity, seeing somebody being themselves, and like, I guess, well, we ended up arranging this because I did a podcast a couple of weeks ago talking about you in different ways. I think there's like that, there's that authenticity, and there's that sort of, like, a lot of YouTube videos are like overly polished, like every sentence almost is like cut so that every word is perfect, and it's a bit stale, like it's a bit, whereas you like leaving in, changing the batteries over, licking your arm, just, it's all in there.
There's two reasons why I do that. Is one, I can't edit. It's, if you can't do something, then you leave it. And the other one is that it happens. It happens in life. And if these YouTubers go around making everything so polished and perfect, then they're adding to all these people. All these people have got like put it in my way, right? If they've got a mental health problem because they can't be as good as what they see, these YouTubers are creating the problem. They'll sit there and do their virtual signaling of, people shouldn't bully and people shouldn't do this and people. Well, if that's the case, don't polish your videos. Don't be like. I mean, I'll use Brian True Geordie. He'll do a video, and when he does his True News, although it's edited, it's not been polished that it's such a shiny thing that it blinds you with its brilliantness. Obviously, when Lawrence and Brian record it, they have to edit it down, or else it would be 5 hours long. So they have to edit it down, right? But when you see some YouTubers, and it's like you said on the thing where it's people like, it's like they take the best word out of everything. It looks stupid. And that is not real life. It's like airbrushing a photo. You don't do it. And I think if a lot of these YouTubers stopped polishing their videos so much, it might actually help people to relate to real life. And I think, like you said, I think that's why people like me, because I don't edit. What happens, happens.
Yeah, like if you stumble over a word, it's not like, I can imagine somebody like making a note of it, taking that bit out, making sure, trying to position their head in the right way, get the right lighting and everything. And it's, like you say, it's not like
that. Life's not like that. And all these people that do these YouTube channels that do it, they are part of the problem of young people growing up in life. But they don't realise that, because as long as they look good, that's all right with them. And me trying to read out words on the back of a packet, and I can't say them. That's the way it is. That's the way life is. If people take the piss out of you because you can't say, I can't even remember a word to say that I can't say. Because I used to emphasise on jalapenos. I used to say jalapenos because that's how it's spelled. That's how it says. And if I make the mistake, somebody might think, well, if he does it, it ain't that bad. And if you do make a mistake, once again, just tell them to fuck off.
And I think it shows as well, like having a sense of humour about yourself, which is really important, I think. Kind of a staple of British humour as well, isn't it? Being able to take the piss out yourself a bit. And
yeah. I mean, I've always, the lads I've grown up with, we was renowned for taking the piss out of each other. We would rip each other to bits, right? But we were always there for each other in the end. When things go wrong, we're there. I've got a great bunch of mates. I don't see them so much now because that's the way life is, not just the COVID thing, but you're married, your life goes in different routes. But I've got some great mates, and we've been really cruel to each other, but we're always there. And I think if you've got the ability to laugh at yourself and laugh at others without, knowing the limit. I think that's probably what's wrong with the world today. Nobody dares laugh at anybody, because if you do, you get labelled, and it's just wrong.
Mm.
I take the mickey out of my mates. My mates take the mickey out of us, and it's great. And I think that's what the world needs more of.
Yeah. Finding that line between, like, I sometimes feel when people say, criticize people for using certain language or stuff, I try to see where, like sexist language, for example, like somebody might say something that is inherently sexist, but you get the sense that they're coming at it from from a kind place, or it's just the language of the place they grow up in, which other people are just happy with that. Words like darling or something like that. I think sometimes I hear people say that, and I think, although there is, there can be difficult connotations, and you want to hear everyone, but sometimes I think it's just coming from a nice and positive place. Like it's meant affectionately.
And I totally agree. Well, the biggest one at the moment, I had somebody moaning about holding a door open for somebody, and you think, oh, you only held the door open because I'm a woman or something. No, I held the door open because I was actually brought up to help, or to, just be polite. And holding a door open to somebody is not an offensive thing. If holding the door open for somebody is offensive, we may as well just finish the human race now, because we're just getting absolutely ridiculous. I'll hold the door open for anybody. If I'm coming out of the shop and it's one of them doors, I'll just hold the door open. It's polite. It's just polite to do. Nothing to do with you being a woman, nothing to do with your colour, nothing to do with you being a man or anything else like that. It's just polite, and people can't handle it.
Difficult, isn't it? It can be difficult, yeah. And being open to hearing everyone's stories and everyone's, like, hearing the person saying, "Oh, why are you upset about that?" But also listening to the other person who's saying, "Well, I'm only doing this out of kindness. I'm doing this."
Yeah. I was brought up. I wasn't dragged up. I've never ever littered in the world. I've never dropped a paper or a crisp packet or anything. I've either kept it in my pocket or I've put it in a bin, because I was brought up to respect the place where I live and others. And that's the problem. Nobody seems to be doing that now. It's like somebody will say, "Oh, respect me, respect me." Well, you have to earn respect first. You don't just give respect. So
Yeah. No, I see where you're coming from. How was it, like, when you officially achieved 100,000 subscribers? I know you made a video on that, but that must have been a significant turning point, and getting the trophy that you get, or is it a plaque? I'm not sure what it is.
I got the plaque. Yeah, the day I was getting 100,000, the idea was that we don't plan anything. We don't plan it. Well, I don't plan anything on my channel. It just happens. If I think, oh right, I'm going to go and review a Nando's, it's like I'm sitting. Oh, I'm going to go, and I've gone, right. But the idea was to do the 100,000. Was hopefully I was going to do it while I was on the kickoff with Brian the next day. So anyway, it wasn't going to happen. It was just ticking over and over and over. So I sat up. I think it was about 12:30. I'd have to get up in the morning to drive down to London, and then it ticked over about 1:45, I think. And I've got it on video, and yeah, it was quite an achievement. I felt really proud, and not just because of what I'd done, but not just because of that, but I felt proud because Brian put me out there. So it's like part of his achievement, and Lawrence and Elliot. And then, I just felt proud for the family. And then just like people who knew me, and, because everybody who's helped on my channel, it's part of them. And then I went to bed, and as I got to the top of the stairs, my daughter heard me come up the stairs, and she just went, "Well done, Dad. I'm proud of you." And she was one of the main reasons that she was one of the main people who didn't want me to do it. But it's done it. So I felt really proud of it. Yeah.
That's lovely, yeah. And especially, like, recognizing that things are made sort of in community with people. Like it's that it's like you obviously put a lot of work into it. Like there's a lot of videos that come out that must take up a lot of time, but recognizing the role that other people play in it as well is quite.
Oh yeah, I mean the thing is, right, I mean, now, right, YouTubing is not easy, right? But I'm not saying it's harder work than a nurse, a doctor, firefighter, policeman, or whatever, right? They are proper jobs. Me sitting here in front of the camera doing what I do is relatively easy. But doing what I do is different to some other jobs. It's like people just say, oh, there was a bloke at work and he went, oh, all you do is sit in front of the camera. All right, then go and sit in front of the camera and do it then. If you think it's that easy, go and do it. You have to give people something in return for watching the videos at the beginning of a video. That's how I looked at it. You watch my video, you watch them first 5 seconds of the advert, then you skip it, right? I know what you do. I do the same. I don't even watch my videos, right? But I feel that they have to have something. You have to give them something back for that video. So, yeah, it's. I've lost the question. What the question? I've got off on one.
I can't remember. It's nice to just roll off anyway.
That's about me feeling proud, weren't it? And I just feel that you have to give something back. And then that's it. And then I wanted to. Everybody who's been on my channel, it's like they are. I want my channel to be like a bit of a community. So I've got Chris the Butcher, the Scott and Wanda, right? Who two other channels that they are really good friends of mine, and they know we chat quite a lot, and they're really good help to me, and I help them. So I want people to be on my channel. I want it to be a little community kind of thing, you know. Even the Kiwi next door, and I've had Mitch on with his car, and they're people who have helped my channel grow, and they have not taken anything from me. They've not come in and demanded anything. It's a given. I just appreciate the help. So yeah, that's what I wanted it to be. That's it. That's what I would try and say.
I like that approach. That's what I'm trying to do with this as well. It's like I've got things where I talk about things I feel about myself, but getting people on to let them, air different points of view, and for me to learn stuff as well. Like I'm always wanting to be open to learn as much as I can.
My granddad said, he always said to me, Dave, boy, you're always learning till the day you die. So that's it, yeah.
Very true. Yeah, very true. Nice one. I like the picture on your Twitter as well that's been the pinned tweet for, looks like, well over a year of you meeting Jamie Vardy, giving him that award for the month. How was that experience, meeting him?
Well, it was amazing because, like I've said, I was a massive Leicester fan. Like I say, I used to follow them all over the country, season ticket holders and everything. There's bigger and better Leicester fans out there than me, right? There's some fans who have followed Leicester for years and years and years. I mean, I've got a mate, his brother Chris. He follows Leicester even through the dog times. And then anyway, we just got this email come through, and Elliot found it, but it was actually gone into my spam account. For some reason, it had gone into the spam account. So Elliot phones me up. He says, "Do you want to meet Jamie Vardy?" And I'm like, "Oh, stupid question." And he said, "Well, get down the training ground for Thursday." Right. So you're giving him the Player of the Month, but don't tell anybody. So I went into work the next day, and I said to the boss, "I'm not coming in work Thursday." Why? Why are you not? I said, "Because I'm giving Jamie Vardy his Player of the Month award." Right, fair enough. And he let me have the time off. He was really good about it. So I should shout out to Dave Chapman there. And anyway, went down to the Leicester ground. It was chucking it down a rain, and they wanted to do the hell I were because I just rolled up in my van. And that was it. I got to meet him, and it was a day I'll live with forever. So.
It was beautiful. Yeah, I like it. What I like about the image as well is I feel like in a kind of loose way, there's like similar stories to you both, because there's kind of a sense of like being the underdog, because he started off in non-league football and stuff, and then sort of rising up to a place where, the success and the sort of, adulation and stuff. So when I see that picture, I think it's kind of similar in very different worlds, but similar
Yeah, it
stories
is. I mean, I met him, and some people say, "Oh, what was he like?" Expecting, me to say, "Oh, you're a bit of a knob" or something, but he weren't. He come up, he shook my hand. "Hello, big man. Thanks for coming and doing this today." He was brilliant. It's like he's remembered where he's from. You know what I mean? He's got no sticking his chest out and strutting about or anything. He just walked up, asked me how I were, spoke to me, not at me, didn't ignore me. There was one bit where the bloke said to Jamie Vardy, the EA Sports bloke, he says, "Do you play FIFA?" And Jamie went, "Well, no, not really." "Well, why?" "Because I play the game. I actually play the game for real. Why do I want to play it on a computer?" And I was laughing, and he looked at me and laughed, and he winked back at me, and it was really good. And yeah, so Jamie Vardy's a top bloke, and it was a real. I mean, I was there for what? I was probably there for 2.5 hours, 3 hours, and I met Jamie for 15 minutes, and amazing, absolutely amazing. So
Nice one. Yeah, it's really lovely to see.
So thanks Elliot for that, for finding the spam.
You got to check your spam. You got to check it.
Yeah.
The amount of stuff I found in there, the appointments I've nearly missed, and they just get sucked in. It's
yeah.
I've heard people talking about things like their social media and like people who make content online and stuff, and saying about how, as part of their daily lives, they have to have like Instagram and Twitter sort of ready to go sort of through their life, and that it can sometimes like interfere with their daily life, like, because you've got to have it there ready to go. Do you ever get a similar sense, like, or any pressure at all to be like, well, I guess I've got to have the camera out now to do that? And I mean, and how it works with like family as well, like especially it looks like a lot of the times you're making videos at dinner time, it's your actual dinner and stuff. Is there ever that pressure on it at all?
To be fair, it doesn't bother me. The pressure doesn't bother me. I've never been that kind of person where I've got to do something or anything like that. Granted, now I have got to put videos out because it is my living. It is my living. Some people are saying like, I've started doing this thing where I've started to do a short, sharp shock review in the morning. There's one went out at 11 o'clock. And all they are it's just like a cheap review. And I'm just trying to like add a different side to my channel. You've got to try different things. You've got to keep reinventing yourself. So I've tried these short, sharp reviews. They seem to be going well. I've had one bloke moaning he thinks they're rubbish. Well, like I said again, you look at his channel, he's got no content yet, but they're always quite willing to give me advice on what to do. But as for pressure-wise, no, I've never. June might give you a different answer. She'll say, "Oh, you're always doing YouTube," and so the dog's just walking by. You're always doing YouTube. You're always doing this. You never got time for me and the kid, which is, I suppose, is true. But I wouldn't say I feel pressure. It's just that you do actually have to do content. Twitter and Instagram doesn't bother me. I don't particularly want to go and like, "Oh, I'm cleaning my teeth today. Here's a picture of me." I don't need to do that. I don't need to live in that fantasy world. The same with Instagram. But YouTube, I don't feel pressure, but I know I've got to do it. I know I've got to put a video out. So it's, I don't feel pressure.
And it can be a difficult thing to balance out, can't it? Like fitting it in time. And I imagine so. Like, I only do this once a week, and I did do a couple of other radio shows as well, but fitting that in around work and around different aspects of life can sometimes, I mean, it's once a week, but I mean, there's work that goes into it beforehand as well, and putting it together and releasing it afterwards, but it's once a week, and it's difficult to fit it in sometimes and to get it.
It is difficult. I mean, it's hard work to do. as such. This is what I'm saying. It is hard work because you do actually have to plan it. It's like a TV program. You see, I consider my channel a bit like Channel 4 or Channel 5. I try to cater for everybody. I've got my football, I've got my cooking, I've got my reviews. I've reviewed films, I've reviewed music. So I try to cover all bases. And you do have to do the research of what you want to do. You know what I mean? It's like you've got to put a bit of effort in, because if you don't put the effort in, you won't get the rewards of what I'm getting now. So
yeah, absolutely. We're about half an hour in, and I've been looking at the frames behind your head a little while, but I noticed them in the videos. Just as somebody who's based in East Anglia, I've always wanted to know why Lowestoft? Why Lowestoft on the walls?
It's what it is. It's that June's mum, right? She was a massive part of June's life, absolutely huge. You know, if it was, you know, when you got the Princess Diana interviews and there were 3 people in the marriage, well, June's mum was our 3rd person. You know, we took her on holiday and everything, and we went all over the place with June's mum, and she was a good old girl. Well, anyway, she died. It's what happens when all's said and done. We all die, don't we? There's nothing more certain. We went to Lowestoft, Allerton Broad. We went to the holiday park, and we weren't really looking forward to the holiday because it was the first time we went without. In fact, no, what it was, we went at the end of summer. The weather was just beginning to turn, and we just went for 3 days to get away from it. And we went back the following year in the summer. We weren't looking forward to it because Lil weren't there. You know, she always used to sit in the middle of the sofa, taking the old place up. She got the TV remotes and the cup of tea and a fags to that side and whatever. So anyway, we went, and we had a really, really great time. The sun was out. We got the hot tub. And we just absolutely loved it. And we went there for about 6 years in a row, and we absolutely love it out in the East Coast. And because Lowestoft and the East Coast is where we went, that's why we got the pictures. It's just happy memories of the next chapter of our lives kind of thing. So, and, you know, we'd like, in theory, to move out to East Anglia sometime, you know, retire out there. Sorry, the dogs are. This is how it works. Hold on, let me just 1 second.
He's just dealing with his pooch.
Sorry about that, mate. That's how it goes. Shut up.
I've got a pooch here too, and she often, is yelling at passers-by. And
I know. Oh, dogs. Hopefully one day. The idea is, the thing is though, because they do play fights, you do wreck everything when they start. And I've had to sit down here because I'm on my own, so I've come down and the settee ain't ripped up.
Surprise. How long have you had them? What are their names?
Well, we used to have the Labradoodle. We had him for 11 years, then he died. He got the big C and everything. We had the Lurcher. I think we've had the Lurcher about 7 years. He was a rescue. He has fits, so we have to look after him. And then we've had the Itsy Bitsy down there. We've had him since March, just before the lockdown. No, was it? I can't remember when we had him. Well, he's 8 months. He's 9 months old, so we've had him about 6 months. So.
Nice one. Talking about COVID, actually, as well. You had COVID didn't you, for a while? Is that right? Like you took time away from YouTube and everything.
Don't get me wrong. I knew COVID's serious, right? I've never got under any underestimation how bad it was. But I have got this thing where it will never happen to me. Everything always happens to somebody else. And anyway, it was this time last year. I just went back to work after having it. I've just done a quiz on Elliot's program. It was the start of lockdown, and I went into the living room and I went, "Oh, it's blooming hot in here." Or I can't remember which one. No, I said, "It's cold in here. What's happening? Have you got the windows open?" she says, no, anyway, touched my head, I was burning up. And June said, you've got it. I said, I ain't got it, I'm all right. Anyway, next thing I know, I was really, really bad. Yeah, I got it. I had it for about 6-7 weeks. It took me a good couple of weeks to get my lungs back working. So overall, I must have had it for about 2 months, until I was back fully fit. But I must admit, since I've had it, I've never felt so good. Well, I have felt better, but I feel really, full of fight kind of thing. So, yeah, it's not to be messed around with.
No, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it is always that thing, isn't it, where it feels like there's a part of it where it feels sort of distant, like it's sort of happening, but it won't be me that gets it, and
I've always thought that about anything that happens, it's never going to happen to me. But like I say, I mean, the best thing was I was going to work on the Friday. I was at work. I was in a full canteen. Obviously, we got no social distancing back when I got it. I was in a full canteen. I've been sitting next to the lads on the same table, like sitting next to each other. I've been in the office. I've been on the computers. I've been using the phones because that's part of my job, on the computers and the phones. I worked in the warehousing. I've been on the forklift trucks. I touched so much, breathed over so much, and so many door handles. Yet nobody ever caught it. Nobody got it from me. In fact, I don't think the next case of COVID in my factory was for a good month. So
that's pretty amazing.
You know what I mean? It does amaze me that nobody actually got it.
Yeah, so it's peculiar how it works. Yeah, and I'm pleased to hear no one got it. God, yeah, it must have been interesting to not interesting is the wrong word, to catch it so early on as well, because I think a lot of people had to go through a shift or change of mind, and then if they did eventually catch it, it was like it would bring it home, or somebody they knew had it, or like it would be a point where this is quite serious. But I guess if it happened to you quite early on, that shift was sort of.
Yeah, well, the thing is, it's like, when I got it, I'm not having a go or anything here, but when I got it, the NHS didn't really want to know. They didn't want to, there was no testing anyway, because let's face it, we don't know how many people actually had it at the beginning. The Kiwi next door, he reckons he had it. Obviously, Brian, True Geordie, he had it, because I didn't hear from him for weeks. And then, even down to the fact that I couldn't get anything delivered to my house for painkilling relief or antibiotics or whatever they wanted to prescribe me. We couldn't get any shopping done. There was nothing. Nobody could help us. So we actually found a company called B Livery, and they were brilliant. But we couldn't get any help from the NHS to get the drugs down. So, they were saying, don't go out. Yeah, we couldn't get anything delivered to the door. Nobody do anything. So, yeah, there was what your mum. I'd actually spent a few days talking to my mum, sitting on the side of the bed. The only problem there is my mum's been dead 18 years. I was hallucinating that much. June says that I was in bed and my eyes were rolling in the back of my head, my lips had gone blue, my fingers had gone blue. And we just couldn't get anybody to come out to us. And that was it. So, but fortunately, I've pulled through and that's it. But I must say, if anybody does ever get COVID, go on YouTube and look for breathing exercises, because they helped me no end. They made my lungs work again. So that's it.
That is amazing. Yeah, I've heard plenty of podcasts with people talking about how we don't really tend to breathe properly. Like it's just a natural function, but there's all these extra breathing things we can do, and I try to incorporate them in my day. And even sometimes I'm getting back into trying to have cold showers so I can open up the breathing in that way.
That's it. Yeah.
That's wonderful to hear that it helped you out that much. Yeah.
Yeah, it did. But I'm all right. I'm here. If it don't kill you, it makes you stronger, isn't it? Something like that.
Something like that. I sort of half prepped you on this question beforehand of interest. If you were having a dinner party, who are the guests you're inviting round? I'm curious to know who you'd want to bring round.
I've actually had, when I went on Jack Mate's podcast, I think he asked this to me as well. I'm going to be really, I don't know what the word would be, but do you know who I'd love to have a word? Now, somebody will probably moan at this, but I'd love to get Adolf Hitler, right? And share a steak with Adolf Hitler. And then take it away, Will, probably, before he gets it. Say, you can log off. But I'd love to say to him, what possessed you to do what you did? How did you come up with? I mean, I've read bits of Mein Kampf, right? Because I think to have an opinion on something, you've got to look into something. I have opinions on certain things, and I've read up on them, so you've got an idea what you're talking about. You can't just dismiss an idea without, you know. And I would love to say to Adolf, I'm not going to call you my mate, but Adolf, why did you come up with the idea of killing so many people in the way you did? Why did you honestly think that was going to improve the world of what you did? Why did you want to kill and maim and put so much suffering onto the world? Why? That'd be one. I don't. Other people, I'd love to like. In Excess is my favourite band. I'd like to have a chat with Michael Hutchins and see what was, what happened there.
Do you think they'd be happy with hanging at the dinner table with Adolf Hitler as well? Do you think they'd be chuffed?
Yeah, they'd probably have a chat, wouldn't they? They'd probably go off to a hotel room together and hang themselves like that. But
there's probably one where you start saying, like, you don't tell people that Adolf is coming. You probably just say, just come around, cook you up a steak and that'll be fine. You don't mention until he's sitting at the table and they're like, oh, for fuck's sakes, I did not know.
It'd be different, wouldn't it? But I don't know, really. I've never really gone on for that kind of question of who would you have for dinner. And do you know what? I'd probably say, just to be soppy and emotional, I'd probably have my mum back just to see what she'd make of all this, what is happening. And she'd probably say something like, oh, David, I knew you'd do something stupid like this. So, probably Adolf Hitler, Michael Hutchins should be born.
Can I come? Because I want to see what happens to that. I want to know what that even is.
Adolf's going to say, isn't you?
Like touching, reuniting on one side, and then just foul-mouthed aggression on the other side, and just over a steak.
I've been and recorded something with my mate Chris. We've got something coming out Sunday, and he said pretty much the same thing. I said we've got this thing going where me, Chris, and Adi, we want to do something together on video for YouTube, and we've got something called a TARDIS moment. So the idea is you jump in the TARDIS and you can only go back in time, and Chris wants to go back to the night. Oh, is it the Crystal? I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, it's when Adolf gets everybody together and he gets the German public behind him. And Chris says he wants to be there to see that. And I'm saying, why, Chris? Because I just want to see what was going on. Because Adolf Hitler, what Chris says was that Adolf Hitler, although he was a bad man, you can add to that, can't you? But he's not a very nice man. He was evil, weren't he? Chris says to have a man who could have the whole of the country there on his speech, he says it's an amazing achievement. And, Chris said, I'm not giving him credit or anything like that. He says, but he's got the whole country to do anything he says by just the speech. And he says, you know what I mean? It would be amazing. So yeah.
Yeah, no, It's the thing. It's true. Like that's what people say about Donald Trump as well. You know that they're both, whether or not you like their politics or not, and whatever sort of moral issues you have with what they're saying, the charisma is
Yeah,
very much there, and the way they can address a crowd is kind of, it's difficult to find the word, isn't it? It's pretty amazing to witness. Like
hypnotic, isn't it? It's hypnotic to make
hypnotic's a
people
good word.
believe
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
So in that way, why did people follow Joe Biden? Because I don't see anything that he's got that would make, apart from voting Donald Trump out, why would people vote for Joe Biden? Because but the way he is at the moment is, I mean, when he fell up them stairs going to the plane, it's, you know, and the worst thing is people are laughing at it. And you shouldn't be laughing at an old man who's like that. It's just downright wrong. And I don't know. He shouldn't be in that situation, to be fair, because he forgets what day it is. Never mind his name of his general, does it? So
Yeah. Like it feels like a strange way to sort of vote back somebody who sort of represents the establishment, which was the reason that Donald Trump, or one of the reasons that Donald Trump maybe got in the first place.
it's just weird, and it's just I don't know. I don't particularly trust any politician at the moment, left, right, centre, anybody. I just don't trust any of them. So
Yeah, it's hard to it's hard to find the right people, especially in. I did a podcast actually about changing the system so that basically having more people have their say about sort of changing the voting system from sort of first past the post to proportional representation, so that everyone who has a vote and has their say, that matters, which also includes not voting as well. It also includes, you know, saying I don't believe in any of these people, which is, I think, as important.
I totally agree with that, because we've got the local elections coming up soon, and there should be a box that says no confidence, or, you know, if you destroy your ballot paper, that should go down as no confidence. And first, funny enough, I was just talking to June about this before she went to work. I'm a big fan of independence. You know, I would say don't have the Tories, don't have the Lib Dems, don't have the SNPs and Labour and all that. Have 630 odd independents. You vote for who you think is the right person to be the MP. And don't make them blue, green, or yellow or red or whatever. Just vote for independent MPs and just all grow up and sort it all out yourselves. Just, you know, it's just this thing now where David Cameron texted Chancellor, or Dyson text Boris, and, you know, and Keir Starmer, he's no better. And, you know, it's just let's just have some independent MPs in there who can call it down the middle, because it's a mess.
that's true. Very much a mess. It's getting to that point.
I agree with that. You might not. You know, you might think you ought to have an allegiance and such. But I just think for the past so many hundreds of years, we've had all these these parties, and none of them seem to do anything right. My life hasn't changed from when Margaret Thatcher was voted in to when Boris has been voted in. My life has not changed. I did get up. I went to work, I paid my bills. Nothing's changed. Doesn't matter who's in. You know, I mean, the only other thing is that there has to be a reason that we've only had one elected Labour Prime Minister in 50 years. And he was as good as the Tory anyway, so, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I do agree with what you're saying. I sometimes get confused with why it has to be sort of people with individual views and beliefs sort of, you know, having to go by the whip and go by, you know, who like the party allegiances, and then sometimes you can see they're put in positions where they don't agree with that aspect, but they represent that party, and it's like the whole system that we're working is very confusing, and I think takes a lot of power away from regular people and a lot of say away from people not involved, like people, because they are servants to us, like they're in service to us, they're here to represent us. And
I mean, that Keir Starmer thing, when that bloke, he questioned him about being the opposition, And Keir Starmer says, I don't need a lecture from you. Well, I'm sorry, Keir, but you do need a lecture from us because we're paying your wages, mate. You know, and if your wife works in the NHS, we also pay her wages. So you've got twice as much reason to listen to people because we're paying your wages, mate. So
yeah, no, I agree. You're there to listen to people, and I guess it's difficult sometimes if somebody's coming at you angry, but really you should be trying to hear maybe even more so what they're saying because they're coming with all that passion.
What he should have done is this is the thing. Now, if that had been me, if I'd have been Keir Starmer then, I'd have said, well, I tell you what, mate, let's go and have a chat over here and we'll talk about this like grown-ups. We don't need to argue in the street and end up looking like a scene out of Bridget Jones, where Hugh Grant and what's his name are fighting. Let's talk about it. I want to hear what you've got to say. And we can discuss this like grown-ups, not like a pair of bloody stupid school kids. Keir Starmer handled that so badly. Keir Starmer could have actually done himself some real good there by sitting down and let's have a chat there, mate. No, he got his bully boy guard in and that was it. So
no, I agree with a lot of what you're saying. It's a shame. There's a good chance to win that person over and for them to feel listened to and to, well, not just feel listened to, be listened to, because otherwise you're just, where does that person put that anger? Like, there's nowhere for it to go, other than to stay inside.
There were people saying, all that landlord was worried about was his profits. Well, I don't think he's made any profits for the last year, so where's that come from? He's probably thinking, I'm losing my business here, and you're the opposition. And I think the opposition should sometimes be the opposition just for the sake of being the opposition. You've got to start questioning things. If we start losing the ability to question what's happening, then we're not going to get anywhere. So.
No, absolutely. I agree. I definitely agree. It's getting to that time where I think it's about sort of wrapping it up time, but I do want to ask
you. If you want to carry on, I'm more than willing. You want to go?
I'm happy to chat. I've still got a few more.
Your podcast.
I'm definitely enjoying this. This is good fun. I am interested though in. Do you have a kind of a set of ideas or philosophies, or just thoughts about how to live life that, for example, you pass down, to Ginger and everything, and are they are you able to vocalize them? Because sometimes you feel like, I've got all these ideas of what it is to be a good person, but then actually having to say them is like a whole different thing.
I mean, like I said, I was brought up. I wasn't dragged up. I wasn't, my mum and dad split up about 3 times. The last time they split up, I wanted to get into the living room and kick my dad's head in because he was basically destroying my mum. But I can understand why my dad left. I just wish he'd left once and not come back. But I was brought up. I always think that you should do right by people. Like I said about holding the door open for people, I think you should work and pay your way. This is one of the things that we've told to Jim is that nothing in life is free. We've got our house, it's paid for, but that's all through hard work. The van's paid for, the car's paid for. Everything we've got at this moment is what we work for. And I think some people expect it on a plate. I think, they walk out of school and they just seem to think that everything's entitled to them. You're not entitled to anything. If you want something in this world, if you want the latest iPhone, you want the latest Nikes, you want the latest whatever, you have to work for it. And that's basically my philosophy. If you want it, you've got to work for it. I've made the mistake of being in debt. I mean, if you've seen my debt, my video when I was 35 grand in debt, that was just pure stupidity, and it's only a mistake if you don't learn. If anybody's listening to this, which I'm sure they will, because it's going to be a quality podcast. If you're a kid of 16, 17, 18, and you're setting out in life and you're thinking of making loads of debt, go watch my video because it'll destroy you being in debt. It nearly destroyed me and the wife. I nearly lost everything that I'd worked so hard for with her. Yeah, if you want something, you've got to earn it. That's including respect. You earn respect. You don't just get given it.
I'll put a link to that podcast as well in the show notes, so people can go and click on that now if they're listening to this. And because I've said, it's not just the financial aspect. Like, it affects all strands of your life, and it can become a bit all-consuming, I imagine, being in that position.
It will catch up with you. Debt will catch up with you in the end. That it will. And I thought I could manage it, and I couldn't. And that was it. So...
Yeah, no, it's really, I can only imagine, because I haven't been in that position myself, but that it's just, a horrible position to be in. Because even just the day-to-day earning money is...
Money was just so easy to get in them days of Labour, Gordon Brown and that, I've abolished boom and bust. So you think, right, I'll just borrow, and I'll keep on borrowing. And it's like the country was built on debt. And I was part of that debt, but I paid every penny back. I got in touch with that company. I paid every penny back. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the fact that I paid it all back, and a lot of people haven't. And a lot of people have helped add to the problems of the 2008 crash, but I paid mine back. So,
no, nice one. I mean, I can tell that you certainly do abide by what you said earlier about earning your way and paying your way, and not scared of hard work. And
no, I'm not scared of hard work. I mean, I used to do 12-hour shifts, days and nights, weekends, and I've worked all my life. I've never been unemployed. Well, I've been made unemployed. I've been made redundant 3 times, but I'd always got a job by the next day. I think times are a bit different now, but it all depends what you do. I mean, a lot of people don't want to work nights, or they can't work nights, or they don't want to work weekends. But I just did what I had to do to bring money into the house. And sometimes that's what it's about, being a grown-up. You have to get on with it. You know what I mean? You have to grow a set and move on. So
work with what you can do physically, and don't be afraid of hard work. Nice one.
Yeah,
nice one. Thanks very much for doing this. I really appreciate your time. I've really enjoyed this conversation. I do want to ask before I go how the podcast is coming along, and whether there'll be any episodes coming up of the visually impaired podcast.
Well, the podcast, I'd actually recorded one, but I screwed up when I was transferring it over to Elliot. I recorded it on a real low quality video. And then I deleted the video that I'd recorded. As soon as I can get around Uncle Steve's, because the thing with Uncle Steve is that although he's disabled, he can't get into the garden, right? He struggles because he's got a brittle bone thing. So he can't get into the garden. As soon as we're allowed in Steve's house, I'll be there and I'll be recording it. But yeah, that'll happen. Hopefully that'll happen, and it'll be a funny thing. I must admit, though, the reason why I wanted to do this with you is you mentioned something about I might be intimidating, or I might be, you know what I mean? And I thought, I can't believe that. I don't want to give the impression that I'm an easy walkover, but I also don't want to give the impression that I'm, unapproachable. So that's when I drop you the message straight away.
Well, I'd certainly attribute to this that is not the case. I've just loved this conversation so much, and it was more sort of my fears and sort of feelings really sort of coming from kind of heavily working class area, and like being very anxious person, which I still am, but I'm a lot better with it. I mean, even being able to do this and have a conversation with somebody I hadn't met before would have been out of my reach 4 or 5 years ago. So I've always been quite an anxious person, so like just the idea of meeting a lot of people, especially people who are very confident in themselves, was just like it was too much pressure for me. But
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. When I started work, I was the same. It's like I was bullied at school, right? I was bullied, and one day it's like I just had enough of it. I thought I can't be doing this anymore, and I just took a stance. And then I got out into the work world, and you're wary of people who are older than you, bigger than you, and that was another case of where I started to think, right, well, you've either got to make a mark, or you ain't gonna get anywhere. So that's when I developed to be more not aggressive, but be more assertive. I, I started to swear a damn sight more because you use a swear word, and I think it sometimes adds to your character of "don't fuck with me." You know what I mean? It's that kind of thing. So yeah, and you have to be confident in life, and I think sometimes people confuse confidence with aggression or that thing. I'd hate to think that people couldn't approach me in the street and say, "Hey, up, Dave," and all that. So yeah, so that was it. As soon as you said that, I thought I've got to let him know I'm not that kind of person. But still, other people out there don't fuck me.
Yeah. You're kind, but also fuck off and leave me alone. Like if stuff's gonna get serious, it's not gonna.
Yeah, that's it. I've had trouble in the past, and you just don't need it. I don't need trouble, but I'm not going to turn away from trouble. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I understand. Well, I really look forward to your podcast, and I'm always excited to see new videos rolling in. Yeah, thanks very much for doing this. I wasn't expecting this to happen when I made that podcast. I just thought it would be a fun topic to talk about.
It's such a shock. It's like it came up on my Twitter feed. I thought, somebody's done a podcast about me, and I thought, then I listened to it, and me and June listened to it, and we loved it. Absolutely loved it. It's like how you see me through your eyes, obviously, and then it was just building it up and up and up. And what you said was pretty accurate about me, and apart from the yobby bit. But no, it was pretty good, and I really enjoyed it. In fact, we've listened to it a couple of times, so it was good. Thank you.
Nice one. That's all right. When I made it, I was like very aware. Like I didn't think that you probably would ever listen to it, but I thought I want to make sure that if you ever were to listen to it, that you would like be happy and not, upset by anything like that. Something that goes through my mind if I'm making a video about somebody, like a real person, even if I haven't met them or anything. Like make sure that they're not going to be upset.
What made you pick me then? What made you decide to?
I tend to just go with whatever feeling I have that week. I try to trust whatever instincts I have.
Yeah.
And I just the initial reason I started watching your videos was because of the vegan stuff, like the vegan things that you were trying.
Yeah, I'm open to vegan stuff. I mean, some of it's really, really good. Have you tried that vegan tuna thing from Tesco's in the blue tin?
No, I haven't.
Don't. I think that's one of the shortest videos I've ever done. It was awful. It was absolute awful.
It's hit and miss. And like a lot of the cheeses are sort of to be approached with caution.
Well, yeah, I did a vegan cheese. A good couple of years ago, and it was a spicy vegan cheese. It was brilliant. Really, really good. I loved it. So, yeah, it's not all to be screwed up.
Not all of it, yeah. It can be hit and miss, but yeah. No, I don't know. I liked your content, and I liked what I was watching, and just the idea formed, and I thought just start recording and see what happens, really.
Yeah, good. I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So, and the best thing was that you didn't talk about Brian, True Geordie, because everybody just associates me with Brian, and it's like you think, well, yeah, Brian's helped me, but I've still had to do this on my own. I've still had to produce the content. So, yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I wasn't really aware of the links between, other than I knew that you'd appeared on each other's channels, but I haven't watched any of his stuff about you. And like you say, yeah, it's like you're the person who's making a good 3 or 4 videos a day coming in. So yeah, you're not like a footnote in somebody else's story. You're your own story.
Yeah. Yeah, and I appreciate that. It's good.
Nice one, cool. I've massively enjoyed this. And there's plenty more questions to ask, but maybe we can do a round 2 at some point.
Yeah, no worries, mate. I'm full-time YouTuber now, so I haven't got to worry about working and then trying to squeeze people in. So anytime, mate, just drop us a message and we'll go from there.
Perfect, cool. I look forward to seeing what you've got in the future. And again, thanks very much for doing this.
Okay, thank you for having me on, mate. Appreciate it.
Nice one. Cheers. Thank you.